In this video, I'm going to talk about replacing the pads on the record weight in the bottom platter of the Seeburg background music system. If you have one of these machines, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is the record weight that sits on top, and this is the bottom platter. Here's where these parts are on my modified Seeburg 1000 BMC, the background music compact version, and here are the same parts on my Seeburg 1000 BMS, the original background music system. The reason we're doing this is because the original foam rubber pads made in 1961 dissolved sometime during the Reagan administration, leaving behind disgusting goop. We try to remove it as much as we can, but it's imperfect at best. I tried solvents such as denatured alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, acetone, mineral spirits, and naphtha, and none of them worked perfectly. I tried different abrasives. I tried a kitchen scrubby, magic eraser. I used a heat gun with pretty good success on one set of platters. In short, you try everything and you watch out for paint loss and don't worry about making it perfect. As you can see on this one, I started losing a little bit of paint and I said, this is good enough. It just needs to be smooth so when you put the new pads on, they're not bumpy or anything like that. There are two materials I've used on these platters: adhesive-backed rubber foam and felt. This isn't a precision machine, and many people have used various things, including a few folks using children's adhesive foam sticky animals and shapes. Here's a solution that used small adhesive felt pads, and here's another solution that uses adhesive foam guitars. For a clean look with an easy installation, I'd recommend buying adhesive-backed rubber foam, and here I have a roll of 1/16 inch foam I bought from Amazon. An alternative approach involves cutting felt to the desired dimensions, and that's the approach I'll show here. Here's a drawing that I made based on measurements from an original set of plates from the Seeburg 1000, these plates here. It's quite clear that Seeburg made these using a single die on a clicker press or a similar setup. If you look at the remnants of the original glue on the plates, we see that the inner diameter of the thin ring on the bottom plate matches exactly the outer diameter of the record weight. Basically, they cut both pads from a single piece of foam. We can assume that the original measurements from the 1950s era design were imperial units. So looking at that, we see the bottom platter has a diameter of 9 inches, matching the records. And the record weight has a diameter of 7 7/8 inches. And we look on the back of the record weight, and we can see where the glue ends, and that shows us the inner diameter of the donut of foam is 4 inches. So hence this drawing, and I'll include a link to this drawing in the description. You see the 4 inches for the inner diameter and the 7.625 for the outer diameter of the record weight. And of course we have 7.625 inner diameter for the bottom platter pad and a 9-inch outer diameter. This makes it really easy to cut these because all you need to do is take your foam and take a X-Acto knife or a hobby knife, and let's just imagine this, that this pad is the foam, and we just set the platter down, do it upside down, and center it, and then use a knife to go around it. Then once we have the circle cut out, we can lay down the top record weight like this, cut around that, and now all you need to do is grab a can of beans and put that in the center and cut around that. And now you've got the two donuts of the right size to match these platters. When you go to glue them, the adhesive foam is the easiest. You simply peel the backing off and stick it on. When you use felt, the easiest thing is to use hot glue to glue the felt onto the platters. The advantage you get with using hot glue is it's super easy to remove. Spray it with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and that will cause the hot glue to release from the metal. I was going to show an alternative approach for cutting the foam rubber, and that failed miserably, and I'm going to show you right here. This is what happened. You can see that the cutting machine just failed. And now I'm going to click send and hope for the best. And that is awful. So that clearly didn't work right. I used the thicker mat, or the thicker foam, This is 2mm, and you could tell this was right at the edge of the limitations of the machine, and it didn't even cut all the way through. Well, I'm going to try slightly thinner material. Change of plans. Now we're going to try flipping the material upside down, because the slick side was too slick to stick onto the cutting mat. And hopefully this one's thin enough so I can cut it with this machine. If not, then it's not going to work. Let me get this in. But the same cutting machine works admirably on felt, and here's how I did that. Let's get started by launching Silhouette Studio. This is the tool that you use with a Cameo 4 vinyl cutting machine. This is a fairly powerful tool with all kinds of features, but we are going to just use the very, very tip of the iceberg, and we're only going to cut 3 circles with it. The way we set this up is, first you go to the Design tab, and you have to say the size of the cutting mat. This is a mat that goes beneath the material you're going to cut that gives the blade a backing, and the mat's a little bit sticky. I only have a 12 by 12 inch mat, so I'm going to stick with the size there. Now you go to the media size. Right now it's set up with a sheet of paper. I'm going to be cutting something that's 12 inches by 12 inches, so let me just change the width and change the height. What this does is it shows us exactly where the material is on the cutting mat. As we drag things onto this and draw lines, we see where the lines are going to go. Let's start by putting the outer circle. I'm going to go to the center. This circle needs to be 9 inches wide, so I choose a 4.5 inch radius. Now I need to put the circle that goes on the inside of that. That's going to be 7 5/8, 7.625 inches. I'm going to put it some random size, and I'll go up here, click the lock to lock the proportions, and then type 7.625, hit enter, and now I have, you can tell this is the pad for the bottom platter of the Seeburg 1000. Now I need to cut that center part out so that I have the 4-inch hole in the pad for the top weight. Go here, 2 inches. This is our finished drawing. Next, we go to the Send tab. This is where you prepare to send it to the cutting machine. Right now, it's not configured correctly. The Cameo 4 has 2 cutting heads. The left one, cartridge 1 or carriage 1, is meant for delicate blades that cut very precisely. That's not what we're doing. The right one, or carriage 2, is for the more brutish kind of work, such as the roller blade that we're going to be using to cut this material. It has cardstock chosen. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it to felt, because that's what I used the other day when I tried this out, and it worked just fine. I need to choose action as rotary cut, and I need to pick rotary blade. Now I select my part, and I go over here and I say, let's do a rotary cut. And you see it is marked everything in blue where the rotary blade is going to make its cuts. This is different from the regular cuts. You'll see these little loopy things. That's actually where the blade is going to come down and swivel so that it has the right alignment for the next cut. All right, let's get our Cameo set up and let's cut this thing. This is where I admit defeat. I really, really wanted the felt to work. I tried, and the cutting machine did perfect. As you see right here, we've got perfectly cut felt. When I went to glue them on with the hot glue gun, the result was lumpy and the glue soaked through the felt, and I just tore it off in disgust and threw it away. So hot glue is not the way to do this. I think in the future when I try this, I will use the kind of contact cement, the spray stuff that you put on, say, the laminate that you put on a countertop or something. Now, spray both sides, the underside of the felt and the top of the surface to be glued, and it'll all work perfectly. With that said, what I ended up doing was the manual method with an X-Acto knife, where I used the actual plates as templates and a suitable 4-inch can. It wasn't a can of beans that would provide this inner circle right here. Everything worked perfect, and when I took the peel backing off and stuck it to the plates, it came out absolutely perfect. So this, for now, is the way to do it. Just get yourself some of this double stick foam rubber and cut it out using the plates as your template, and you'll be good to go. In my next video, I want to show how to make this record weight out of brass, because there are people who have Seeburg 1000 machines with the top weight is missing, and it's actually not a difficult piece to make. I'm going to be making it in my machine shop, but it can be done with hand tools. It'll just take a bit of extra work. So that's my next project, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.